Have you ever had that unsettling moment when you casually mention something out loud, maybe a holiday, a dog bed, a brand of coffee, and then an advert for exactly that thing appears on your phone not long after? It feels eerie, personal, almost impossible to explain. And that is why so many people come to the same conclusion. The phone must be listening. That reaction is understandable. The timing can feel far too precise to be random. But that feeling, however vivid, is not proof of constant secret microphone surveillance. In fact, the strongest explanation is often less dramatic and, in some ways, more troubling. Everyday ad targeting usually does not need proven round-the-clock eavesdropping through your microphone. Modern phones and the systems around them already collect enough behavioral and contextual data to make very strong guesses about what you want. In normal use, a smartphone is constantly exchanging information. That does not automatically mean a sinister plot. It includes ordinary functions, backups, notifications, diagnostics, usage data, location queries, advertising identifiers, telemetry, DNS requests, network metadata, Bluetooth contacts, and the nearby Wi-Fi signals your device can see. None of that needs to contain a secret transcript of your private conversations to become powerful. Combined over time, these streams form a rich behavioral record. Patterns begin to emerge: when you leave home, where you stop, which shops you pass, which devices are nearby, who you tend to spend time with, what time you usually commute, which places you revisit, what searches you made yesterday, what sites you clicked last week, which purchase confirmation landed in your email, which loyalty card was scanned in a store, which card hash, retailer record, broker profile, or retargeting system may connect one event to another. Add shared Wi-Fi, Bluetooth beacons, IP addresses, lookalike modeling, and household or friend proximity, and the result can feel almost psychic. But what looks like mind reading may simply be large-scale correlation. That matters because the modern surveillance problem is often not a dramatic wiretap. It is an infrastructure that sorts, compares, scores, infers, and connects ordinary traces. It is easier to miss because it hides inside convenience, defaults, and systems that seem routine. Take the common idea that iPhones are always listening for Siri, and therefore must be silently streaming everything to the cloud. That is probably too crude an account. As an explanation, it is more plausible that wake word detection can happen locally on low-power hardware or through the neural engine, rather than by sending all ambient audio away for non-stop cloud analysis. That point is medium confidence here because it is explanatory rather than direct proof of what happens in every case. Still, it is important. The existence of a voice assistant does not by itself prove 24-hour remote bugging. But that does not mean there is no privacy risk. There is. False activations happen. Real requests and dictation may go to the cloud. And voice assistants have already faced serious controversy over human quality review of recordings. So it is entirely possible to have genuine privacy problems without claiming that your phone is permanently acting as a hidden microphone for advertisers. The same mix of technical sophistication and uncertainty appears in photo analysis. Apple has described features such as enhanced visual search as analyzing images locally and comparing features against a server-side index. Apple also points to terms like homomorphic encryption, differential privacy, and OHTTP as protective measures. Those claims should be understood as Apple's own description, and the confidence here is medium. More importantly, privacy-preserving language is not a magic guarantee. These terms can signal real design efforts, but they do not remove the need for scrutiny. If features are enabled by default, difficult to understand, or vague about what is analyzed, transmitted, matched, or inferred over time, then users are being asked to trust systems they may not truly grasp. That trust problem became sharper during the controversy over Apple's planned CSAM detection system for iCloud photos. Apple defended it as a child protection measure. Critics warned that it would create a dangerous surveillance precedent and open the door to function creep. Apple eventually withdrew the plan and turned to other protections, such as communication safety. The significance of that episode goes beyond one company or one feature. Even narrowly targeted systems can normalize technical and legal architectures that may later be expanded toward wider surveillance. Once a pathway exists, the argument over where to stop often comes later. And this is where the discussion moves from tech companies to governments. In Germany, the legal distinctions are unusually important. There is a difference between source telecommunications surveillance, which targets ongoing communications, and broader online searches, which reach into the device itself. That distinction matters because a phone is no longer just a phone. It is an intimate archive, a movement log, and a memory machine. It can hold messages, photos, locations, habits, contacts, and fragments of a person's private life in extraordinary density. Germany's Federal Constitutional Court recognized this in 2008 when it established a fundamental right to the confidentiality and integrity of information technology systems. Later rulings tightened the limits further. The basic idea is that state intrusion into such devices needs a narrow legal basis, a serious trigger, proportionality, oversight, and protection of the innermost private sphere. In other words, because digital devices are so revealing, the law must treat access to them with special caution. Yet even where legal limits exist, the technical problem remains. State malware typically depends on exploiting vulnerabilities. That creates a tension at the heart of digital security. The state is supposed to protect IT security for everyone, but in specific cases, it may also preserve or use weaknesses in those same systems to gain access. So the very institution that should want secure devices may sometimes have an operational reason not to close every hole immediately. That contradiction is one reason why government hacking remains controversial even when it is legally framed as exceptional. Then there is Palantir. And in Germany, the debate around Hessen data. Palantir is best understood not as a magical spying machine, but as software for integrating and searching many datasets so that relationships become easier to see. That capability became deeply controversial in Germany in disputes over automated data analysis. The concern was not only what any single dataset contained, it was what happened when many lawful fragments were linked at scale. In 2023, Germany's Federal Constitutional Court partly objected to rules in Hesse and Hamburg, saying the thresholds and limits were insufficient. The broader issue is central to modern surveillance. Information that seems relatively modest in isolation can become far more intrusive when merged, compared, and mined across systems. The real power lies in connection. And that takes us back to advertising. The strongest evidence against the microphone theory is simply that ad precision can often be explained without it. Search history, proximity to other people and devices, loyalty cards, retailer and broker data, hashed email addresses or card data, retargeting, lookalike audiences, shared home networks, Bluetooth signals, IP matching, and timing can produce remarkably specific predictions. On top of that, confirmation bias amplifies the spooky moments. We remember the advert that appeared after a conversation, and we forget the many conversations that led to nothing relevant at all. There is, however, a limited point on the other side. Some vendors have marketed so-called active listening, but the best-known examples look more like marketing fog than solid evidence of routine secret microphone surveillance as the main engine of ad targeting. So the cautious conclusion is not that secret listening has been proved and normalized everywhere. It is that there is no clear proof here that hidden microphone monitoring is the central mechanism behind the ads that feel unnervingly personal. The larger risk is broader, quieter, and arguably more important. It is the accumulation of metadata, the power of default settings, the opacity of device features, and the linkage of datasets across commercial and state systems. Surveillance today is often less about someone literally hearing your private words and more about systems inferring your life from what your devices, networks, purchases, and movements continuously reveal. That may be less cinematic than the idea of a phone secretly listening from the table, but it is also more realistic and perhaps more unsettling because it is built into the ordinary architecture of digital life. If you want more, subscribe, enable notifications, and tell us in the comments which topic Aurora Knowledge should explore next.